Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome to Metaplot Monday in our world of darkness. We are gathered here today to discuss something that's been coming up very often. In fact, I was in the middle of filming the Descendants of Helena lore sheet video when I got to the level 5, where it started talking about her being taken away by the Beckoning and leaving the Succubus Club into other people's hands again. And it's the Beckoning that keeps coming back to us. We are here to talk about the Beckoning today. I've decided to just push the lore sheet off maybe until next week, because the lore sheets really are filler. I'm using them as filler until I can think of something else that's more important to talk about, or if there's any suggestions that people want me to handle. And the Beckoning keeps coming back, because I'm finding more and more people who don't like it, who don't like the concept of the Beckoning. The fact that elders have been removed from gameplay. And I get it, and I also don't like it at the same time. The Beckoning itself is what is causing the elders to get up, go east, and head into the Gehenna War. The Camarilla elders have gone. The very few Anarch elders that existed are going. The Sabbat elders got up and went, and the rest of the Sabbat went, hey, the elders are going this way, let's go and kill the rest of them. So, I mean, I can understand, it explains a lot on why a lot of things have changed. I also think, and I could be wrong, and if there's any of you out there who actually work for the World of Darkness, confirm or deny this, or I don't fucking care, because it is a game, and we can do whatever the hell we want. But I believe that the Beckoning was set in place so that they could work on things compartmentally. Being able to go, here's vampire neonates, here's ancilli and neonates, here's a nice round group that you guys can play in and have fun with this. It makes a lot of sense. Here's your Camarilla book, here's your Anarch book, here's your Sabbat book, and they're all neonates. They're all, and there's nothing's older than ancilli. The story makes a lot more sense with the idea that the Camarilla and the Anarchs would be at each other's throat without those elders going, we've been working on this for 500 years, so just calm the fuck down and we'll handle this our way. But there's some that are not being held accountable into the Beckoning. The Hecata don't seem to be held into the Beckoning. Is there much evidence of Tremere being pulled into the Beckoning after the Vienna Chantry exploded? But World of Darkness did its damnedest to eradicate most elders. Most, not all. Most. They left the ones in that are important for the story, for the storytelling aspect of this. And I think that eventually the Gehenna War is going to be over, or at least placed on hold or suspended or whatever. The Sabbat is going to come back. We're getting the Sabbat book in August. And we're going to start seeing a return of elders. We're going to get Beckett back. We're going to get Helena back. We're going to get Melanie back. We're going to get whoever they decide are going to be good survivors. We're going to get back. And in that casting, what are your thoughts on the Beckoning and on how it works? Because are we going to get an elder supplement later on to bring out some kind of I don't want to say big bad, but more powerful characters who do end up being obstructions in neonate and ancilli's ways? I have gone through a lot playing elders, and you can still play elder in this system, by all means. You can see how blood potency works, you can see how generation's going to work, and there's nothing stopping you from being able to do that. There's no direct rules on paper stating here's your elder. But if you take the actual book itself and you flip open to your character creation page, and you go right here, and it says, oh, you're going to play, right here, it says that the lowest generation you're going to be able to play is 10th gen. Okay, so 10th gen get 2 blood potency. In fact, hold on. So if you go to, in my book, it's page 214. I understand that different times that it was actually sent out and published, you might have different pages. But if you go into this section called The Blood, and it starts talking about what the different things are here, we have a nice generation scale here with the blood potency and generation and what your blood surge is going to be, all the way up to blood potency of 10. So we do have access to all of the rules needed to play an elder. Um, the only thing that we don't have are elder disciplines. And from what I can tell, a good way of handling that by using the book rules that are included are making it so that you can go back and buy past levels that you decided to skip. Um, and I decided that when I was getting ready to play when I was playing my Lasombra and I was looking at what levels of Oblivion I wanted to buy later. Because I realized that certain levels of Oblivion together do different effects, and the same goes for all disciplines. So if you're opening yourself up to having 10 levels of celerity, you're going to be a pretty fucking kick-ass, terrifying vampire. If you're opening yourself up to having 10 levels of protean, you're going to be a pretty kick-ass, unstoppable, powerful vampire. But I can also understand why people would want specific, scarier disciplines for their elders. And we have examples of that, and the old tabletop books convert incredibly easily over to 5th edition. So if you're looking at things like Blood of Acid, if you're playing as Tzimisce, that's not hard. After the first round of being staked, your stake dissolves. If anybody pierces your skin, they have to throw a test to see if they get hit by an acid squirt. Like, it makes a lot of sense. If anybody tries to Diablerize you, they take aggravated damage. So these are all things that are covered in this, but the idea of the beckoning itself, and I'd like to actually pull up something here, what exactly the beckoning has, what exactly it's going to say. Okay, so excuse the whiteness of the board here, but the Vampire the Masquerade official White Wolf wiki, like how it's still White Wolf wiki. The beckoning is a phenomenon against kindred of the 9th generation or lower, wherein they are compelled to travel to the general area of the Middle East and other regions that supported early human civilization, especially the Levant and the Maghreb. This event seemingly began around the same time as the Sabbat's Gehenna Crusade, and few elders that do avoid tend to hold themselves in their domain, feasting on the blood of neonates. So they're using vampiric blood to strive off, which there's a fucking story in and of itself, is the one elder that's not going on the beckoning. And that could either be we need to kill this thing, or we need to talk it into just going to stop him from feeding. The precise nature and origins of the beckoning is unclear, though the Antediluvians are, of course, highly suspect at the source, as are the Methuselahs of the region. An extreme psychological event, such as the breaking of an old blood bond, may be able to temporarily stave off the effects of the beckoning, as may diablerie and consuming potent kindred vitae. The truth is unclear, and many, hearing its siren call, scramble in an effort to resist. It is a little-known fact that the elders of Clan Hecata are not affected by the beckoning, perhaps already having built up a resistance to Cappadocius' beckoning, of the original Clan of Death, to the Feast of Folly. There are many other internal theories, including the idea that the formation of the Hecata itself is a kind of beckoning. No other group of vampires shares the resistance. Even Qatif are suitably potent blood feel the call. And that does make a lot of sense due to the fact that Qatif they still have an antediluvian. They may not know who it is, but they still have one. Now, that does clear up the fact that the Tremere may still be feeling and stuff like that, but the Tremere themselves are a Qatif line, if you want to look at it that way. There's a lot of argument on whether or not they are Tzimisce bloodline or Salubri bloodline, depending on what you consider being the source of clan power. Are they a Tzimisce bloodline due to the fact that they use Tzimisce blood in the ritual for the embrace? That makes a lot of sense. However, they also diablerized an antediluvian of a different clan. That sourcing throughout the system could very well have made them more of a Salubri line instead of a Tzimisce line. I'm still going with the Tzimisce bloodline. They're a bastardized Tzimisce bloodline. Now, that being said, we know that the Tzimisce antediluvian is not easy to kill because it has been killed and it just keeps coming back. So if the Tzimisce Antediluvian is out there and the Tremere are going towards the Beckoning, that makes a lot of sense. In Chicago by Night, it says that the Lasombra suspect that the Lasombra Antediluvian is still alive and in the Middle East calling them. I think it might be a true beckoning. I think it might be like summon of the presence discipline, the old presence discipline summon, where they were calling them to them. And that's what they're doing. They're calling their lines. So individuals who have further separation, so generation 10th and beyond, are going to have a little bit more of a, maybe they're just not interested. Maybe they're specifically calling individuals of potent enough blood to specifically do that kind of thing. But if you wanted to play a Dark Age game and play Elders, you have access to this. It's not hard. Hell, man, I played a Second City game where everybody got to make 4th generation characters, and it was a lot of fun. Not with V5, but the rules are still easily adjustable to be able to do that, especially since in the Of the Blood section of the book, it does give you the potency rules and how things would work like that. But the beckoning itself is something that does not seem to me like it's going to last forever. I feel like within the next year or so, we're probably going to end up getting an end to the beckoning, which could very well give us an Elder supplement book, which would be very fun. Now, would that mean that we're going to get Elder level disciplines? Or are we just going to get an explanation that they can buy the ones that they've already missed? Or is it going to be both? I think both makes a lot of sense, and both is probably what I would do. Also, homebrew disciplines are definitely something that can happen. And if you don't like what the World of Darkness is saying, fuck them. Just do your own thing. There's no reason not to. As long as the storyteller and the players all agree on one thing or another, then you've got what you're doing. So the beckoning. Supernatural call of the Elders. Are we going to get the same thing when it comes to Guru? When they come out? Are the Guru going to have some type of, the rank 5s had to disappear into the Umbra because they were being called by their totems or some shit like that? Who the fuck knows? But I'm interested in seeing it. It's really kind of funny that this is all just coming out, and I was having such a hard time with the Helena lore sheet, but as soon as I saw Beckoning was something that just needed to be covered. Now, I have granted permission for people to come in with 9th generation and lower characters into my games. And I've told them that every week that they play, they are going to have to basically roll like a humanity check, like the stain check that you do at the end of games. Except instead of it playing on the humanity, it was going to play on the willpower. And once they had all their willpower be drained from waiting, they'd still have access to it, but basically the same mechanic. Once they ran out of that temporary dice pool from willpower rolls, they were going to end up having to leave. So, and that seems to have worked for me. But I am very interested in knowing how all of you are dealing with the beckoning in your game. Are you ignoring it? Are you playing it off as a viable mechanic? Do you have your own rules for it? Do you have your own explanations for what it is? I like the idea of the whole Gehenna War going on in the background, and that being a reason why the Elders left, but it does also take a lot away from games. But I've always had younger NPCs anyway. I've always had like the elders being all in Europe and stuff in my games, and every once in a while I'll bring one in that's ridiculously old who just had to see the Americas or something like that, or he's a founding kindred, one of the first kindred to ever come to the country or something like that. But the idea of a bunch of 8th through 4th generation vampires running around the United States, it's not really something that was appealed to me. But I can also understand people who play games based in European cities, or in other old world areas. Um, but I play in a new world, so. But it is an interesting thought to wonder exactly what exactly is going on. And that being the case, are we going to get? And it seems like I'm jumping topics here, but I'm really not. Are we going to get an Orisha book? Are we going to get a book explaining the politics and everything of the Orisha? And the reason I'm really, really wondering that is because that is set in the Middle East. The Gehenna War is on their territory. The Gehenna War is fucking up their areas, their domains. So I'm very interested exactly on how that's going to work. Because I do understand that there is some crossover. I mean, all the clans are represented in the Ashira, at least minorly. So I understand that this is a shorter video than usual, but I think that's really all I had to say about it. Is the Beckoning. The Beckoning is something that we need to think about. And I probably will do in a more extended version of this video later, but this is all I can really think about is right now on it. I'll do my research and I'll come back later. But your opinions matter to me, so. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness, and we have just had a shorter discussion than usual on the Beckoning. Thank you.